who's the home run leader? Why are we celebrating this retroactively? As it's the thing is strange to me to see people now strip down Barry Bonds yet again through the steroids.
Not just
stuff.
people. Roger Maris Jr. is saying no. 61's the number. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, guys, well, what are we doing? You don't want to go down this road. The all-time record for home runs in a season is 73. Then 70, and then 66 or whatever. Sosa, McGuire, the game never cared about PEDs or cheating. They actively encouraged it, in fact, or tacitly encouraged it because they liked the way that it was helping drive attendance and driving ratings. You can't play this game. You cannot go backwards and start stripping away records because then you have to go look at a lot of people that you don't want to look at, people that the game reveres and holds in very high esteem, all of whom also cheated and did a bunch of stuff that they shouldn't have done. So I understand the frustration if you're Roger Maris Jr. and the thing that your family has is 61 home runs. I get it. You can't play that game. Joe Posnanski, with whom I do the podcast here on Meadowlark Media, my actual job that I actually get paid for, he wrote a very good piece about this, which you can read at his Substack, about this very situation, which is like you cannot say that those guys don't have legitimate numbers without going backwards in time and investigating a lot of other numbers that can't be investigated but probably should have been, because the game never really cared. The game cared about one thing. They had one rule. The one rule was you can't bet on baseball. That's why Pete Rose broke that one rule and he was banned for life, because that's the only rule they had and the only rule they cared about or enforced. So you just can't make that claim. It's not a good idea to make that claim, because there's a lot of guys who played the game that are among the most beloved figures in the history of the sport, who have admitted in their post-playing days to taking amphetamines and doing whatever else that they had to do, corking their bats and everything else. And so that's a non-starter as an argument as far as I'm concerned. Aaron Judge is having the greatest year. By the way, my stat of the day tomorrow will be about Aaron Judge. There's a little tease for you.
Wow. A little tease
he's having an incredible
from a guy
year.
trying to get fired. A little tease. He'll be back tomorrow as he tries to get fired.
Yes, he's having an incredible year. One of the greatest years of all time. That should be enough. We should all be fine with that. But you can't make the claim that he's like the, quote, real home run champ, end quote.
I'd like to know, though, is that a popular opinion or an unpopular opinion? Are you espousing a liberal opinion in the right-wing church of baseball that we're celebrating with Roger Maris's kid today? When you say what you just said, I find it reasonable. It's agreeable to me. But the people still keeping Bonds out of the Hall of Fame, they wouldn't agree with you there, right?
Yeah, I would say this is, if there's such a thing as a I don't know, a progressive argument versus a conservative argument. I think mine is the progressive argument, because the other side is espoused by traditionalists and people who like to pretend that baseball has always been a sanctified cathedral where people where there was a right way and a wrong way to play the game. It's the people who don't like it when bats are flipped and home run struts take a long time and stuff like that. And it tends to be the more conservative side of things. So, yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I think that there's a cadre of people who decided a long time ago that baseball was something very specific, that had very specific guidelines and rules and regulations and codes and unwritten rules and all that kind of crap. And that tends to be, not always, but tends to be the kind of person who likes to say that Roger Maris was actually the all-time home run leader because all of the other better years were tainted by something. And I disagree. I was as annoyed as anybody by the revelations that Sosa and McGuire and Bonds and everybody else were cheating. That sucks. But also, again, baseball players have been cheating since baseball was invented. There's a famous, Bill James wrote this thing about the Black Sox scandal, the famous Say It Ain't So Joe Black Sox scandal of 1919. And he pointed out in his book that he's dumbfounded and flabbergasted by the fact that was anything, because he points out that like there were 20 or 30 bribery cheating scandals in baseball before that one. Like there were people were constantly be found out to have taken bribe money to throw games and to cheat and do all sorts of stuff. And it just so happened that year the White Sox were very good. They were a very famous team. They were supposed to sweep the World Series. Instead, they got swept. That one was the tipping point that made baseball come in, hire Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who was a terrible racist and a bad dude, to be the first commissioner. And he was the one who brought down the hammer on the 8 guys who cheated. But it was hardly the first time that a World Series had been thrown, that games had been thrown, that gamblers and the mob had been involved in baseball. And that, to me, is like a sort of metaphor for this larger situation, which is that baseball players themselves were taking any manner of illegal substances every single year that baseball existed, all the way up through the expose of Barry Bonds and A-Rod and everybody else. And so, that's why you can't make the argument, is because there are guys in the Hall of Fame, very famous players in the Hall of Fame, who have admitted to taking illegal substances in order to play. So what do you do with that?
Mike is look at him right now, look him in the face, and know that is the rebel spirit, the anarchy spirit, all around the cathedrals. Look at him. Rebellious. According to his peers, dangerous because he is liberal in not protecting the integrity of the game. That we want to go back retroactively. Yet, do you realize that what the Marises and the Yankees and everyone are doing with number 99, they are colluding to again take home runs away from Barry Bonds. You already blackballed him when the guy's OPS at 40. He was doing Brady things before Brady. His OPS at 40 was over 1,000, and you blackballed him.
Yeah, again, my stat of the day tomorrow, since my attempts to be fired have once again not only failed, but been laughingly dismissed.
Yeah, this is your longest appearance ever.
Yeah.
My stat tomorrow is about Aaron Judge and Barry Bonds together. There's another tease for you.
All right, enough with the teases.
Shorten it up, though.
Get back over to the podcast. Thank you, Mike. Good talking to you.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Wait, is that the key that Stugotz just pointed out, that I'm going on too long? If I go on super long, will that annoy everyone and eventually lead to me being fired?
Certainly with baseball.
I appreciate you doing that, Mike.
I already tried to get you fired, so you got to win over everyone else.
I appreciate you asking that question. Now, please, right now, continue for 19 minutes. Please, in the Calm app of meditation, give me 19 minutes of 90s players soothing for the audience. Begin now.
It's an A-team thing.
Glenn Allen Hill.
Wow.
Bruce Hurst. Gary D. Sarcina, Bud Black, Julian Tavares, John Jaha, Pat Listach, Bob Wickman, Randy Velarde, Hensley Bam Bam